Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Kingdoms Reborn. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In this episode, we are going to provide our citizens with some electricity. So the first thing we need to do that, we are going to go ahead and get electricity. This is going to unlock the coal power plant. This is going to cost us 88,000 science points, but as you can see, I have 623,000, so we have tons. Let's grab the electricity, and since we're having coal issue, I think we're going to go for petroleum, and we're just going to go straight for the oil power plants. We're going to get the oil rig from this, and it's going to reveal oil resources on the map. So I want to check this out, so let's grab this as well. That's going to leave us with 350,000 science points. Pretty good. Let's go ahead and check out our upgrades tree too while we're looking at it. So our Odin's Hall, we already have one started. We're about 33% of the way there to getting that unlocked anyways. Let's go ahead and grab Wine Snob, and let's get these industrial technologies up just a smidge here. And that's going to be about as good as we can get. I think what else we'll do is we'll go ahead and go for some infantry here, and then we'll also get artillery, and we'll continue working that way. So great, we're doing awesome with that. Let's see, we're now going to be prompt to buy some things, which I don't think I have the cards in hand. I have too many cards in hand. So we're going to say no to these and then have to do some other things and come back. We have a good amount of happiness right now, 99%, super great. And at this point, thank you for pointing this out, whoever it was that pointed this out. Our motivation cards are more powerful than our productivity cards. Every 1% happiness above 60% gives plus 1%. So if we're at 99, we are looking at 39% increase in productivity per motivation card. And that's just super great. Thank you for pointing that out. So let's get these installed somewhere, and it will probably be a luxury good or something. Oh, or let's hold on to them, because it may be better to add those to our oil rigs. So in the meantime, before we do any of that, we also got the architecture studio, the engineer's office, and the Ministry of Agriculture. So what these are going to do is provide us with housing appeal, industrial production, and 5 farm production when there are 8 or more farms. We have way more than that. So we're going to go ahead, and these guys shouldn't be too big of a deal to get put in here if they're not like super extravagant buildings or anything. So we'll go ahead and get started with this guy right there. We'll go for engineering office, and then let's go for the architect studio. And then we're just going to kind of do a little stone road here like this, and we'll see what these guys look like. And these look like just regular old buildings. There's nothing super exciting about these. They all look identical to each other, but they are now providing that buff to the town. Super great. For those new oil things, let's check these out. We have the power plant and the rig. So let's get the power plant, and these are pretty good size. And I think what we'll have to do, we'll have to cut down some of our little tree production over here, I think. I was also considering coming over in here, but these mountains kind of get in the way. I guess we could go right south here of our wonder that we got going on right in here. So we'll get one in here like so. Houses are too far now. So we have the one oil power plant. Let's go ahead and go back to oil here. We have oil rigs. So we're going to have to try and find some of these. So we need a region with oil. Do you see a couple oil spots? There's one right here. We don't have that, but we do have 3 right here. Looking great. So we do have stuff around. We can extract the oil from over in here, and we are absolutely going to do that. I've been trying to get the population up over in here, so this is good timing and a decent way to have some oil coming in. So let's do 2 on this plot of land here, and we'll do 2 down over in here. This one might be a little bit far away from these houses, so let's try and get it as far north in the territory as we can. We'll go about right there, and of course we'll do a little bit of quick building. So these guys will get taken care of pretty quickly. Storage is going to be too far. Let's increase the budget. We currently don't have enough steel to do anything as far as other upgrades go. Looks like we're going to be using 5 people per oil rig. Not too bad. And let's go ahead and we'll get a warehouse tied in right in over in here. And we'll probably need another one for this guy down south. Yes, we do. And we'll go ahead and quick build this guy. Okay, so now we're going to start accumulating some oil from the oil rigs, which would be great. But it's in the wrong town, right? What we'll have to do is export this oil to Sultry. So what we got to do is you either have to have the inner city logistics hub or the port, and we have a port. So we're going to come over in here. This was the port that we were using for our original colony, which is now deserted. I took everybody out of there. They were having starvation problems, and I just said, I'm just going to take them out of there. We don't need them. So what we'll do is we'll point towards colony 2, and just like we did before, but instead of gold ore, we're going to go for oil. So great. Oil setup. We have the large number. So it's going to pull all the oil from that other town and bring it over in here. And then what's going to have to happen is they'll have to bring all of that oil way over in here, unless we can find a better spot for our oil power plant. We're probably going to need more than one of these things as well, so it's got to be kind of a thing to have all these going on. And looks like, oh, this will work over in here. I like this better because it's closer to the source than the other oil plant that we have, but we'll leave both of them going. We'll need both. So we'll get this guy set up, and I'll quick build this so we can look at this right away. Great, completed. Okay, so yes, of course, now we're looking for that oil. And it looks like we are looking for a couple more workers as well. So we might need to do a little bit of adjusting on our immigration, which we can absolutely do. We have a little bit of wiggle room for some people, so we could take advantage of that for sure. Now, the tricky thing is, with these power plants, if you don't continuously provide them with the resource that they're using to run, they're going to toggle on and off. And when you start to upgrade your buildings and stuff to utilize that electricity, they get unplugged. They get turned off. They don't run. So you want to have a good stock going before you really get into the production of the electricity. So we're going to work on that. I want to also import some of that stuff. So we have our auto traders going right now. I'm currently importing coal up to a cap of 1,000. We are also pulling coal from our other colony to try and supply Salt Reef with coal. So we got kind of a little bit of a juggling act with a couple of resources here. We are also exporting raw coffee and wool still to a cap of 1,000. It looks like we're about there. Another thing that we could export, we have tons of iron ore, and we also have a ton of wheat. 40,000 wheat. So what I would like to do is probably hold on to that, I guess. We do have a lot, but we're really close on our food count, so I don't want to go too much with that. I would like to turn it into bread, though. But anyways, let's go ahead and set up our iron ore in here, and we'll export that to 1,000. So we have plenty to get out of here. And then what we want to do, of course, is import oil. So we want to have supplemental oil coming in as well. We do have a lot of those buildings, so that'll be helpful for sure. But we want to make sure that we are on top of our oil situation. So let's go 500 oil for imports, and we're still making a little bit of money, so that's looking great. We could adjust our trade amounts a little bit, so let's go ahead and we'll do that. We'll do 500 iron ore per trip, and let's leave this at 100. So let's go with that, and we'll see what we're looking here in a little bit. With our motivation cards, we were just talking about that. So let's go ahead and go back up over in here, and let's get these guys implemented into our oil pumps. So we got our motivation. Let's go ahead and we'll plop this in. Let's just see. Efficiency is 184. Up to 232, so not too bad. I would like to get a couple more motivation cards. So it looks like we need about 4 more for these oil rigs. And what we can do, of course, is come over to our little card shop here, our local card store, and buy cards. And let's go ahead and say motivation. We want 4 of these guys. Okay, there's 4. And we'll have to go back over to our oil and go ahead and install these. I really like having that option of just buying the books like this. Another thing that we could do is just print them, and that was something that we are currently using to print wildcards with. I have a good amount of wildcards right now. I really like having them. You don't have to think about it at all. You just go ahead and make the wildcards, and then you're good to go. And that's what the Scholar's Office, right here, wildcards. So we could, of course, switch this to book, leave it at wildcards. Okay, so while we wait for that oil to arrive into our town here, I mean, we have the 1.3 million gold. We could quick build the Odin's Hall over in here. So kind of thinking about doing, because these are just a lot of resources, and this has been here for a little bit, and there's been nothing done with it. So I kind of want to get that going, but that's a lot of money. Maybe at the end of the episode we'll do that. Let's go ahead and quick build this oil power plant as well. We'll wait for a couple buckets of oil here. In the meantime, we could look at increasing our population a little bit. Let's go over here and check to see how we're looking as far as workers. It looks like we're doing pretty okay. This says 867 out of 883. I want to add a couple more houses, I think, and I think the best spot would be probably up over in here, really, because we could fill in some more farms here. We do have this neighborhood started in here. I don't know why this says inaccessible, but it does already have 3 workers in it, so I'm not really sure what the scoop is with that. What we could do is expand over up in here. We do have a lot of space that we're using right in here and here for some wood. Maybe I don't want to do that. What I think we'll do is we'll work our way down over in here. We could come through this with a tunnel, and then we'll have enough people close by for the power plant. And then whatever this Odin Hall is, we'll have people close by for that as well. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to take a moment here, and I am going to continue to build this out. We'll put some houses in here, maybe a couple of farms, and we'll bring you back in just a moment. Hopefully we'll have some oil by then. Okay, here we are. Not a whole lot going on over here. Very, very difficult to build anything in this space. Just tight and not great. The mountains kind of screw things up. But what I did end up doing is putting in like 5 houses or something. Lots of farms. Well, 3. And I got some wheat in there. And then a medicine maker, because I'm having a lot of sickness deaths up over in here in our little message area. And I'm getting this inaccessible all over the place, and I'm not sure what the scoop is with that. Yeah, if you have any idea, let me know. This is saying that Citizens Gate tile can't be reached. I don't know what that means. And that's clearly on the road, so I'm not sure what the scoop is. But anyways, we got those guys going, and I have 2 more deep sea fishing ports, and we have enough buckets of oil where we're running the power plants a little bit. So as you can see here, we have workers 3 out of 3, and then the oil inventory, and then the consumption per season, currently 0 because we aren't taxing our power plants at all. The building production are 50 kilowatts each, and then we have 2 of them, so we have 100 in total. So that's not too bad. So let's see what we can upgrade to utilize some of this electrical power. And I think one of the good things that we could upgrade is some of this food production. So we have our windmills here. We do have a good amount of wheat, right? We just talked about that. 46,000 wheat. Oh, that's a lot. Well, let's go ahead. We have our windmill here. We can upgrade to electric machinery for 4 iron. We have 1,000. We're doing great. So let's go ahead. We're going to hold shift. What this is going to do is going to upgrade the building to need electricity to run. Workers are going to work faster, but this is going to consume 4 kilowatts of electricity. So if we hold shift, let's see how many we have. I don't really know. 4. Okay, not bad. So we're going to be taxing our power plants for 16 kilowatts of power, and now we can upgrade advanced machinery to level 1. So let's go ahead and do this again. And this is still taking up only the 16 kilowatts of power. So still not too bad. Electric usage 4. So we're going to go ahead and just leave them at that. That's going to do great things for our wheat processing. Next thing I want to work on is the bakery. So with all that, let's get these bakeries up and running a little bit better. So this one in particular isn't very good for as far as the upgrades go. So let's catch it up a little bit. Got the 5 bakeries. Now we're going to go for electric machinery. And it looks like these are also going to consume 4 each. We have 5 times 4. That's going to be 20. We already have the 16, so we're going to be okay. We'll still be okay. Let's go ahead and upgrade to electric machinery. And I'm going to do this a couple more times. We have an okay amount of steel to be able to do this. Okay, so we'll leave this guy at 4. Looking great. And then we have a good amount of paper because we were working on that in the last episode just for this reason, so we can upgrade. So this is the guild I was talking about. We'll go ahead and upgrade those. And this, and then the approved ovens. So great. Our bakeries are just kicking butt now. And our windmills will be able to supply those with plenty of the flour to make into bread. So we should be seeing an increase in that here pretty darn quickly. Another thing that would be very handy to upgrade is our medicine makers. As you might have noticed, a couple little notifications up here, just like I mentioned, where people are dying from sickness. So I'm hoping that our medicine makers are going to be able to keep up with that. We do some upgrading here, and you can see that most of them were pretty far behind. Okay, so we should be at about 36 kilowatts of power being utilized from the power plants. So 36% out of 100 that we have. Not too bad. I'm happy with that. We can absolutely do a little bit more upgrading, and I think what we'll do the medicine makers. So these guys are going to only consume 3 apiece, so we should be just over 50, so not too bad. Let's go up and upgrade a little bit further. Okay, so great. We have electricity being utilized now. So let's just keep our eyes on our oil. Wow, look at that, 2,000 buckets already. Great, so we aren't even importing oil anymore. So maybe we want to do that. Yeah, let's up that just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and we'll find our auto importer. And there's our oil right there, and we're only at 500. Yeah, let's bump that to 1,500. We're doing great. We're importing it from our other colony for now, and that should be enough to handle our demands for now. I'm not going to go super wild with our electricity. It's something we have to very much slowly step into and keep on top of. especially if we're going to be making a lot of food. We don't want to lose all of our food production, right? Because then we're going to have a bigger problem than electricity. Our population is nearly at max as well. And really, unless I want to take away some of this tree space, we're kind of built up. This is like basically as much as we have. Can't really tuck anything in anywhere else, except for maybe a little bit over here still. But we might have to do that. Another option is to get a little bit more intense over in here with the wood gathering and then export some of that wood, which we absolutely could do. And it looks like some of these peeps, we are over our cap here. So I'm going to pause the game. I'm probably going to go ahead. We'll squirt a couple more houses in here, and we'll get those all quick built to accommodate the extra people we have going on here. So not too bad. Got 20 more wiggle room. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that. If we need to, we can export people to our other town as well. So it looks like I have a couple of tool problems. I did put in 2 stone tool shops up over in here, and it looks like they're just not quite cutting it yet. We may need to put some production cards in there or something. It looks like we're kind of on the borderline. Oh, another thing that we could do over in here. I wonder if the trading companies take into account both towns we have, or I guess all 3 towns we have. We're only really utilizing 2 of them though. Okay, so they're separate. Great. That's what I wanted. But our gold is shared, which is even better. Okay, so what we want to do, we're going to import some things. Got to import those tools. We're going to go for iron tools because we might as well. Let's go for 500. So we'll just import the iron tools. Should be looking pretty good here pretty soon. We're doing great with cannabis. I did do another little beer brewery right in here. Trying to work on those tier 1 luxury goods over in here. And you can see we got a couple houses doing pretty great. So that's awesome. I also put in a quarry. Trying to get some of the basics covered over in here. So that's turning out pretty well. And we're coming down over in here, gathering some coal out of that hill there. And I was going to export this over to Salt Wraith, but I don't think we'll have to worry about that. So that's awesome. Another thing that I want to get going here is we have the World Trade Office. Now, I did purchase this from our card store. That's one of our many options we have in here, right in here. And the Basilica is another thing. I think I'll grab that as well. We are really, really close to being completed with this game. So what happens in Kingdoms Reborn, if you scoot on over in this direction, you can see here is a victory score. So plus 1,000 victory score. The game ends once any player builds all 4 types of wonders available to them. So in our case, that's going to be the Basilica, World Trade Office, Odin's Hall, and the Stave Church. So that's going to be all 4 of the things. So we have the Stave Church already. It's looking great. Odin's Hall is on the way. And then let's get these other 2 things on the way as well, and we'll be really looking great. Over in here might be about the only space we have for this stuff. So this is the tree area that I mentioned that I've been trying to refrain from building in, but I think we're just going to go ahead and do it anyways. There's our Basilica, and then let's get a World Trade Office in, and we'll get this guy put in right over in here. We'll go ahead and tie our stone road in, of course, and I think I could quick build this. Yeah, we could quick build this one, so let's do that. Ooh, okay, interesting. Each round increase or decrease the price by 5%. Interesting. So stuff we're selling, we can increase the price. Stuff we're buying, decrease. So we're going to decrease the oil for sure, because we're buying that, and we'll be buying that for forever. We can check our auto exporter and see what we can do. What are we pretty high on? Nothing really. So we could go ahead and do raw coffee, increase the price of the raw coffee, and get a little bit of money when we're getting enough of that to sell. So we got our raw coffee there. And great. That's 200 upkeep around. Not too bad. We can handle that. 2 wonders are completed now. World Trade Office and then the Stave Church. And then over in here, we could quick build Odin's Hall, but that's going to put us at about 100,000 monies. And that's not that big of a deal, but I don't really want to do that right away here. And in order to win the game, we have to have this victory score, and that's going to cost us 300,000 sign points, and we can deal with that. That's not that big of a deal. But before we get to that, I want to check out a couple of these other things first. So we got a lot of electrical stuff going on. I'm happy we were able to do that in this episode, and I'm glad that we were able to get to petroleum and not have to worry about the coal. And I think in our next episode, we'll work a little bit with our cotton mill and the clock makers, and then maybe we can get to the printing press. But besides those 3 things, we already have the World Trade Office. Basilica's done. So let's check out social science and economic theories. So social science is allowing the production of motivation and passion cards at the scholar's office. Okay. economic theories is plus 20% house income. Wow, that's really good. So what I think we'll do in our next episode, we'll work on these 3 things. We'll probably grab economic theories, and then we'll consider moving on to the victory score. But we're going to need a lot more money before we can do that, and I think we'll worry about that later. Look at this. I already see an issue happening. We're down to 2 buckets of oil over in here. So something that we could do to help with this is, of course, when it's far away, it's kind of difficult for these things to be running. So let's go ahead. We'll get our warehouse in there. We're going to go and deny everything, disallow all, with the exception of oil. Let's get oil in there. So this thing is going to store the oil buckets for this power plant. And now look at this problem. So we can see here, this building is off. It is out of fuel, and we are four over our production. So because that one power plant we have is still running, we're still okay. But for now, this one's out of luck. We need to get some more oil. So even though we have 3,000 stored up, it's got to get way over in here. And this is the reason why I wanted to put this power plant over in here, because as you could just see, it went from 9 to 41. This is much easier. You can see a guy right here bringing some more oil in. Much easier to maintain and keep this one up because it's closer to everything. And so that's great. I'm glad we put that in there. And we could also put in some hauling services and try and work on it that way. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. And we'll go ahead and put one of these guys down. And then hopefully that will make a little bit of a difference for us. Once we get some oil in here, I think that'll be good. And we'll be back up in action. I think that's going to be it for this episode of Kingdoms Reborn. I hope you have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night. And I'll talk to you again soon.